Phil Mattingly, great piece, great wrap-up of the events last night. Thanks so much to you. I want to bring in Mark Preston, the executive editor of CNN Politics. Also joining us, CNN senior political analyst Ron Brownstein and CNN political commentator Anna Navarro. Anna is a good friend of Marco Rubio, but a supporter of Jeb Bush. And Anna, I want to start with you.
Yeah, it's called political schizophrenia.
You've watched Marco Rubio for a long time, his entire career. We've all watched Marco Rubio, at least throughout this campaign. Every debate was strong performances. A lot of people asking this morning, what happened?
Let me tell you, I was in the room. I was apoplectic. I saw last night what I thought I would never see, which is a meltdown by Marco. I mean, you know, the one point that people have been hitting him on over and over again in New Hampshire is how scripted, how prepared, how rehearsed, how packaged, how lacking humanity and genuine feeling he's been. And he goes out there and he proves it 4 times on the stage. Chris Christie went, I mean, full Soprano episode on him last night. It was like watching, like, you know, a show on the Food Network. That guy chopped him, diced him. He was having a great time doing it. You could see that Chris Christie came out for it. I went up and talked to Chris at one of the, you know, commercial breaks. I said to him, you keep spanking Marco this way, you're going to get charged with child abuse tonight. It was poignant. I mean, Chris Christie and Marco were looking at each other eye to eye. It was just, you know, the room was silent because Marco has been an excellent debater, an eloquent speaker, and it was like when a robot gets water poured in it, it was a short circuit.
And yet, for all the excellence in the debates, this has been the biggest problem, I think, that, you know, he rarely goes more than 10 or 15 seconds without reverting in any debate answer to a piece of his stump speech, playing the play button. And, you know, I had my own pop culture moment last night. I think it was like the scene in The Matrix, where The Matrix Reloaded, going back to the same moment.
And the reason it's bad is because it
reinforces. The most dangerous thing in politics is to reinforce a pre-existing storyline. And in that sense, it may not have been quite as dramatic, but it was reminiscent of 30 years ago, another older candidate turning to a young, rising senator whose record was kind of questionable and saying, where's the beef? I mean, it was kind of a where's the beef moment for Marco Rubio, because Chris Christie not only kind of showed him as scripted, but also raised the question of what have you accomplished beside reading a script. So it was a potentially important moment.
The big question is, so what comes of this? And Mark, you've had some intel. You've talked to the Christie campaign a little bit, because it's Christie, it's Jeb Bush, it's John Kasich, it's the governors who more than anybody wanted Marco Rubio to suffer a little bit.
Well, we've been talking about this all week, and John, you and I were talking about this yesterday. Chris Christie had to come out, and he had to land several blows on Marco Rubio, but he had to do it in a way that didn't look like he was out of control. Chris Christie did not look like he was out of control. He looked like he was in absolute control. And to the point of the pop culture reference, it seemed that he would go up, punch Rubio, Rubio would stutter back, but he wouldn't knock him out. He would let him dance a little bit, come in and hit him again. In addition to that, Jeb Bush had to come out last night. You know, Anna, your friend there, Jeb Bush had to come out last night and go after Donald Trump. Not only did he go after Donald Trump, he really have to look at the body language of these folks when they're delivering their lines. And Jeb Bush kept his eyes lasered on Donald Trump. And that says something. You know what? He should have done that months ago, because now he's in peril of maybe...
Listen, I went to a Jeb Bush event yesterday in Bedford, which was at capacity. And it just struck me what a much better candidate he is. You know, practice does matter. And his candidate skills now are 180 from where they were 6 months ago.
But Ron Kibono, who benefits, as they say in The Departed here, from all of this in the next 2 days?
Well, possibly, ironically, Trump and Cruz. I mean, one of the most important storylines of this entire campaign has been that the mainstream conservative center-right lane fragmented between Rubio, Bush, John Kasich, Chris Christie. Coming out of Iowa, there was a lot of expectation, a lot of momentum that maybe New Hampshire was Marco Rubio's opportunity to kind of clear that lane and establish himself as a more, kind of a more establishment acceptable, although he's pretty conservative, alternative to Cruz and Trump. Last night, not only did Rubio have a bad night, but Kasich, Bush, and Christie all had good nights, and that, in all likelihood, is going to continue to fragment those. And you may not get the consolidation in New Hampshire that people expect.
I have to tell you, to me, the 3 governors were the one winner last night.
They were.
The problem is that they're splitting the vote.
Right.
But, I mean, they sounded last night. First of all, they can hardly hide the disdain they feel for these rookie senators who've got, you know, golden-lipped, golden-tongued rookie senators who haven't done anything. But they were like singing out of the same hymn. It was like watching the 3 tenors.
Yeah, the problem is, as they say in Highlander, for our third pop culture reference, there can be only one. Maybe. They can't all win. You can't vote for all
Did we
three.
have a record of pop culture references in this?
Mike Duhame, Chris Christie's campaign manager, said to me after the debate, there are going to be more people viable after New Hampshire than people may have thought a week ago.
We all should be open to that, because we just don't know.
Just one thing we're saying, Ted Cruz did not have a great night, though. And
we'll talk about that. We have a lot more to say about Ted Cruz and what he had to say that just frankly wasn't true coming up in just a moment. Anna Navarro, Ron Brownstein, thanks so much. Mark, I want you to be here, too, because we have some breaking news.